we can invest into power infrastructure today, but with what capital? Do we generate the capital and reinvest back into the grid, or do we wait until there's enough capital? So I guess my question was, are there potential models in which data center companies generate revenue using the cheaper power? Of course, by your calculations, there are some premium aspects to it, but using a cheap power initially, but reinvesting back to the grid so there is stable power and you can expand the grid. And maybe, God, you can touch on the power generation versus transmission today and how that could be an equation that we use in lessons from Bitcoin. Maybe you want to touch on that going into the power section?
So thank you for that excellent question. I think a good way to maybe balance this would be to talk about what we call curtailment. So I was working in Texas in the middle of nowhere, Bitcoin mining facility, and around 6 p.m., I'm in my overalls and it's 100-degree heat, and it's summertime. Everybody goes home, turns on their air conditioning, and the load is too much for the grid to bear. And so at that time, the company I was working for received a signal from the power authorities in Texas. It's called ERCOT. And they asked the data center, the Bitcoin mining facility, to turn off. And they did. And you can actually hear all of the machines sputter, and it takes about a second. And there's a solar facility right next door, and that begins to divert power to the residential community. So we call that curtailment. That's built into the agreement. Additionally, in Ethiopia, we also have curtailment. For example, last week, we had 20,000 guests come in for the African Union. And at that time, the Bitcoin miners throughout Olelemi and Kalinto and Deborah Berhan, et cetera, were asked to turn off. And so this happens seasonally. This happens within a 24-hour period. This is built into the contract. And so the industry is aware that power fluctuates, that usage and demand fluctuates. To get some basic numbers out there, and these numbers are coming from Ethiopian Electric Power. They're not coming from, the UN or another institution. This is what's on the receipts and the invoices. Residential houses pay about 1 cent kilowatt hour. Our prime minister made the case in front of his entire parliament 2 weeks ago that this is the cheapest in Africa. He also makes the case with water and land and internet. For commercial businesses, the price is around 2 cents kilowatt hour. Now they're paying in the Ethiopian birr and the local equivalent. The Bitcoin miners are now paying 4 cents kilowatt hour. And within 2 years, they'll be paying 6 cents kilowatt hour. So that's a high premium that they're paying. And why do they do that? Well, because we want to instead support our hospitals, our universities, and our commercial centers. So I think there is a balance. There's not a best. I support the development of all of these industries. But when it comes to stranded energy that is going to dissipate without a buyer of first reserve or last reserve, then I think these Bitcoin miners, these cryptocurrency data centers, and the like are our best bet. So I'm very happy about what the power companies are doing. I think that's showing up in our budget. Like I said, that's $30 million per month that otherwise would not have been generated.
So I think on that note, stay tuned for more. We're out of time, but we will continue this discussion and we'll finish this debate out. I think it's a great timely one.